beginning our program, and really a warm welcome from dear Jason and myself to our program today. As we start, before we start, we have our special, really specially prepared devotions for us today and tomorrow. I did want to welcome all the dear friends from all over Ohio that you may actually, let me see if you can see yourselves. This is a map showing all the clusters in Ohio. We can share this later, but just wanted to welcome. We're going to be well over 100 of us joining today. So I wanted to, on behalf of Jason and myself, welcome all the dear friends, and also a special welcome to all the members and representatives of the local spiritual assemblies who are present today and will be with us today and tomorrow. All those dear friends serving in the role of cluster agencies, our area teaching committees, our cluster coordinators. And we also, you will see, we have dear friends actually from a few clusters joining from Indiana. So big welcome to Indiana. May we give a big welcome to the friends from Indiana who are joining us.
Welcome.
Hello, welcome.
Hey.
Welcome.
Glad you're here.
Clap, clap, clap.
And we have, as we scroll through, we can see the wonderful faces. This really, as just a few weeks ago, this came together as Jason and I and dear Counselor Billy Silva, as we were planning and consulting, how wonderful it would be if we could all be together on this time, this very precious time, and really did not envision so many of us coming together. We thought perhaps a few dozen, but we are going to be quite a group. And really your presence, your dear presence at this gathering truly demonstrates our commitment to this beloved cause and the privilege that we have, the privilege of service. So I'm going to hand off to Jackie, Marianne, and Camilla, who have really in eagerness prepared our devotions, and then we will resume program from there. Just a reminder, it really will add to the smoothness of our gathering if we could stay on mute, unless we will be speaking. So Jackie, I don't see you immediately. Immediately.
I'm here.
Yes, okay.
On my screen, you're next to me.
Okay, so please, if you are ready.
Yes. We've had a little devotional committee that has met several times this week, and the devotional is not just prayers and readings, but it also has stories of some of the early Ohio believers, and we've decided to just intertwine it all together. While you're hearing these stories of our stalwart early believers, I'd invite you to think of what qualities they're manifesting and recognize the hardships that a lot of them suffered, and be aware that they are available for you to call upon when you need assistance. So we're opening with the prayer for the Central States, which Galen Smith is going to present.
Oh Lord, oh Lord, praise and thanksgiving be unto thee, for thou hast guided me to the highway of the kingdom, suffered me to walk in the straight and far-stretching path, illumined made me listen to the melodies of the birds of holiness from the kingdom of mysteries, and attracted my heart with thy love among the righteous. O Lord, confirm me with the Holy Spirit, so that I may call in thy name amongst the nations, and give the glad tidings of the manifestation of thy kingdom amongst mankind. O Lord, I am weak. Strengthen me with thy power and potency. My tongue falters, suffer me to utter thy commemoration and praise. I am lowly, honor me through my entrance into thy kingdom. I am remote, cause me to approach the threshold of thy mercifulness. O Lord, make me a brilliant lamp, a shining star, and a blessed tree, adorned with fruit, its branches overshadowing all these regions. Verily, thou art the mighty, the powerful, and unconstrained.
This is an excerpt of a story in Brilliant Star magazine about Roy Wilhelm and Martha Root, Hands of the Cause of God. Roy's mother, Lori, became a Baha'i in 1898, but Roy was not interested in the faith. In 1903, Roy took over his father's coffee importing company and was a millionaire businessman in New York City. One evening, he had a surprising vision. A man with a long black beard, dressed in robes, put his ring on Roy's finger and put Roy's ring on his own finger. Roy was stunned. He did not tell anyone about his vision. In 1907, Roy's mother asked him to go with her to meet Abdu'l-Baha in what is now Israel. There, Roy saw the same room as in his vision, Baha'u'llah's room. Shaken, he shared his vision with Abdu'l-Baha, who told him that Baha'u'llah had wedded him to his faith, Baha'i. He wrote, "Nowhere have I witnessed such love, such perfect harmony." He returned home eager to tell others about the faith. One of those was Martha Root, a reporter. Martha became a Baha'i in 1909. Roy wrote 2 pamphlets about the Baha'i faith, which Martha used as she traveled the world to teach the faith. Roy and Martha were fast friends, and he often supported her teaching trips and those of Louis Gregory.
Martha Root was born in Richwood, Ohio. She was the daughter of a farmer. She was a quiet and curious girl who loved to investigate and find out the truth about things. She became a journalist. In 1912, when Abdu'l-Baha was coming to America, Martha was in Pittsburgh working as a journalist, and she helped arrange his talk, and she met him there. He was a great inspiration to her, and she fell ever deeply in love with the Baha'i faith. In 1918, Martha, who's a very shy, unassuming person who concentrated on truth and fact and built a reputation as an excellent journalist, wrote to Abdu'l-Baha and asked if she could be allowed to take a world tour to talk about the truth of this beautiful religion, about the Baha'i faith. And Abdu'l-Baha wrote back and he said, "You shall roar like a lion about the divine kingdom." And so Martha, a working girl with only a limited funds, began to travel around the world. She would go to newspaper offices, and because of her reputation, she could write stories and she would make talks. One week she gave 25 talks in 1 week. And she was nervous about public speaking. She often had to hide in the ladies' room for a few minutes to gather herself because she was speaking to people who were more powerful, more educated, more wealthy, and they remained in correspondence with her and they asked her questions about the Baha'i faith. And she taught Queen Marie of Romania, who was the first monarch to join the Baha'i faith. Martha traveled 4 times around the globe, learning languages, talking to people. And she said, if you are timid about speaking and asking opportunity to speak, remember, no day comes twice.
There is no time to lose. There is no room left for vacillation. Multitudes hunger for the bread of life. The stage is set. The firm and irrevocable promise is given. God's own plan has been set in motion. It is gathering momentum with every passing day. The powers of heaven and earth mysteriously assist in its execution. Such an opportunity is irreplaceable. Let the doubter arise and himself verify the truth of such assertions. To try, to persevere, is to ensure ultimate and complete victory. Shoghi Effendi.
Abdu'l-Baha wrote, "At all times do I speak of you and call you to mind. I pray unto the Lord, and with tears I implore him to rain down all these blessings upon you, and gladden your hearts, and make blissful your souls, and grant you exceeding joy and heavenly delights."
We don't hear the audio on this. Somebody forgot to share audio.
Him to rain down all these blessings upon you. 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 And gladden your hearts and make bliss for your souls and grant your exceeding joy and heavenly delight. And gladden your hearts and make bliss for your souls and grant your exceeding joy and heavenly delight. At all times do I speak of you and call you to mind. I cry unto the Lord, with tears I implore him to rain down all these blessings upon you. Rain down all these blessings upon you. Rain down all these blessings upon you. Rain down all these blessings upon you.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share some remembrances of the early believers and activities in the Urbana Baha'i community. One very touching story from our community is that of Louis Gregory, who was travel teaching through Ohio. After meetings in the Dayton area, the early Urbana Baha'is were able to provide housing for Mr. Gregory in the Black Men's Masonic Home, as Beulah Miller, a Baha'i, was the matron at the facility. The story goes that during his stay, Hazel Owens and Beulah were able to help mend his clothing before he continued on his teaching efforts. My parents moved to Urbana after World War II in search of employment. Hazel Owens, my grandmother's double cousin, invited my parents to come to Urbana to stay with her and her husband, as she knew my father would be able to secure a job in the Urbana area. Through Hazel, Beulah Miller, and Mr. Jones, all African-American believers, my mother and father learned of the Baha'i faith and within a short time declared their belief in Baha'u'llah. The Urbana Baha'is were nurtured along the way by very dedicated Baha'is from the Columbus area. They met often on Sunday mornings in my parents' home. Among these dear friends were Ruth Smith, Emily Chavis, Ann Wallstein, Bob and Betsy Richards, John and Ethel Gleckner, and Ron and Virginia Moss. I have two pictures I would like to share with you. This picture was taken on May 2nd, 1953, at the dedication of the temple in Wilmette. Sarah and Richard Davison, along with Betty Bunch, Hazel Owens, and Beulah Miller, were able to attend this blessed event, while all the remaining Baha'is in Urbana were babysitting with all us little ones. This is my mother, Betty Bunch, and this is my grandmother's double cousin, Hazel Owens, which we always called Aunt Hazel. And this is Beulah Miller. These are the two ladies that helped Mr. Gregory when he was in the area. And this is Sarah Davison, and Richard is taking the picture. This next picture, this is a picture of the first local spiritual assembly in Urbana, formed jointly in April 1962. For many years, the area had 7 very dedicated believers, and due to the efforts of Helen Reach and Marjorie Foster, Homefront pioneers, we were able to maintain the assembly for many years. This is Hazel Owens. This is my Aunt Maxine Green. This is Helen Reach, our Homefront pioneer. Sarah and Richard Davison. This is my father, Benjamin Bunch, Marjorie Foster, Homefront Pioneer, Beulah Miller, and my mother, Betty Bunch. Please keep these dear early believers in your prayers.
Thank you, Myra. It's so wonderful to hear these firsthand accounts of especially the Urbana community, which is a very dear community. We're going to close our devotional with a prayer that's been set to music by Rebecca Johnston. She and her husband were from Columbus, and about, I'm guessing now it's close to 40 years ago, went pioneering to Chile.
Oh God, my God, aid thou thy trusted servants to have loving and tender hearts. Help them to spread amongst all the nations of the earth the light of guidance that cometh from the company on high. Verily, thou art the strong, the powerful, the mighty, the all-subduing, the ever-giving. Verily, thou art the generous, the gentle, the tender, the most bountiful.
So friends, I hope your hearts are open and ready to commence with the rest of the program today. So I'll turn it back to Louis and Jason.